There is a particular kind of pain that arrives when you are told no, when the door closes, when the message goes unanswered, when you are passed over, overlooked, dismissed. It is not a physical wound, but it strikes the body nonetheless. The chest tightens, the throat constricts, the mind begins its spiral, replaying every word, every gesture, searching desperately for what went wrong. Rejection does not merely sting the ego. It shakes the foundation of how you see yourself. It whispers that you are not enough, not wanted, not chosen. And in that moment, the world feels colder, smaller, and infinitely more hostile. You begin to wonder if there is something fundamentally broken inside you. Some invisible flaw that others can sense but you cannot see. The silence after rejection is deafening. It echoes in the hours that follow, in the nights you lie awake replaying conversations. In the mornings, when you wake already defeated, rejection makes you feel small. It makes you doubt your value, your worth, your right to take up space in the world. And the cruelest part is how it convinces you that being unchosen is the same as being unworthy, that someone else's refusal is a verdict on your entire existence. But there is another way to see this, a way that transforms the sting into steel, a way that the ancient Stoics understood with a clarity that still cuts through centuries of noise and desperation. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome, knew rejection intimately. He was surrounded by betrayal, by advisors who sought to manipulate him, by allies who turned against him, by a son who rejected everything he stood for. Seneca, the great Stoic teacher, was exiled, stripped of his wealth and status, sent away from the very center of power he had spent decades cultivating. Epictetus was born a slave, rejected by the very structure of society before he could even speak. And yet, these men did not crumble. They did not beg. They did not define themselves by the opinions of those who dismissed them. They understood something profound. Rejection is not a wound. It is information. It is not a judgment of your worth. It is a redirection. When someone tells you no, when they walk away, when they choose another path, they are not diminishing you. They are revealing something. They are showing you where you do not belong. They are removing the illusion that you needed them in order to become who you are meant to be. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, the razor-sharp distinction between what is yours to command and what is forever beyond your grasp. You do not control whether others accept you. You do not control their opinions, their affections, their choices. But you do control how you respond. You control your thoughts, your actions, your character. And that is where true power lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journals, never meant for anyone else to read, that the opinion of others is like smoke. It rises, it drifts, it vanishes. To chase it is to chase nothing. To build your sense of self on the approval of others is to build a house on fog. It will collapse the moment the wind shifts. And the wind always shifts. People are fickle. Circumstances change. What is celebrated today is condemned tomorrow. The Stoic does not waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable. Instead, they turn inward. They ask not how to make others accept them, but how to become someone worth being. Not for validation, but for the quiet, unshakable satisfaction of knowing they are living in alignment with their principles. Seneca, in his letters to a young friend, wrote about the power of being misunderstood. He said that the person who fears rejection is the person who has given too much power to the world. They have made themselves a beggar at the table of public opinion, waiting for scraps of approval, terrified of being sent away hungry. But the Stoic sits at their own table. They do not ask permission to exist. They do not need to be chosen in order to choose themselves. This is not arrogance. It is dignity. It is the refusal to abandon your own worth because someone else could not see it. And when you stop begging for acceptance, something extraordinary happens. You become magnetic in a way that desperation never could be. Epictetus, who knew what it meant to be owned, to be property, to have no rights and no voice, taught his students that freedom is not found in circumstances. It is found in the mind. A slave can be free if they recognize that no one can control their inner life. And a king can be enslaved if they are desperate for the approval of their subjects. Rejection, then, is a test. It reveals whether you are living for yourself or for the judgment of others. And every time you are rejected, you are given a choice. You can collapse into self-pity, into bitterness, into the belief that you are not enough, or you can stand up, brush yourself off, and recognize that the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold of yourself. The transformation that occurs when you internalize. This is nothing short of alchemical. You stop measuring your worth by the responses you receive. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes, hoping for a message that will validate your existence. You stop replaying conversations, searching for the moment you failed to be enough. Instead, you focus on what is yours to control. Your discipline, your effort, your integrity, your growth. You wake up each day and ask not whether others will accept you, but whether you are becoming the person you respect. Whether you are showing up with courage, with honesty, with commitment to your own principles, and slowly, imperceptibly, you begin to notice something. The rejection that once devastated you no longer has the same power. It becomes background noise, a data point, a redirection, not a destruction. This is the forge. Rejection is not meant to break you. It is meant to burn away everything that is weak, everything that is false, everything that is dependent on external validation. The Stoics believe that adversity is not an obstacle to character. It is the mechanism by which character is built. Every time you are told no, every time you are dismissed, every time you are passed over, you are being handed an opportunity. Not to wallow, not to beg, but to refine yourself, to become harder, sharper, more unshakable, to recognize that your value does not fluctuate based on the opinions of others. It is intrinsic. It is yours. And no one can take it from you unless you hand it over willingly. There is a particular kind of strength that emerges when you stop caring whether you were chosen. Not the strength of indifference, not the coldness of someone who has given up on connection, but the strength of someone who knows their worth and does not need constant confirmation. You begin to move through the world differently. You no longer approach relationships, opportunities, or experiences with the desperation of someone who needs them in order to feel whole. You approach them with curiosity, with openness, with the quiet confidence of someone who is already complete. And paradoxically, this is when the right people, the right opportunities, the right paths begin to appear. Because you are no longer vibrating at the frequency of need. You are vibrating at the frequency of self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius faced rejection from his own flesh and blood. His son, Commodus, rejected every principle he had tried to instill. And yet Marcus did not fall apart. He did not define his success as a father by the choices his son made. He recognized that Commodus's path was his own to walk. And Marcus's duty was not to control that path, but to live his own life with honor, regardless of the outcome. This is the ultimate Stoic truth. You cannot force others to see your value. You cannot make them choose you. You cannot control their hearts, their minds, their decisions. But you can control whether you abandon yourself in the process of trying. And the moment you stop abandoning yourself, the moment you stop betraying your own worth for the chance at someone else's approval, everything changes. Rejection becomes fuel. Every no is proof that you are still in the arena, still trying, still putting yourself forward. Every closed door is a reminder that you do not need every door to open. You only need the right ones. And you cannot find the right ones if you are clinging desperately to the wrong ones. Terrified of being alone, terrified of being unchosen, the Stoic walks away from what does not serve them with the same calm they bring to everything else. Not with bitterness, not with resentment, but with the clear-eyed understanding that not every connection is meant to last, not every opportunity is meant to be seized, and not every rejection is a tragedy. Sometimes it is a liberation. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The anticipation of rejection, the fear of it, the replaying of it in our minds, this is where the real damage occurs. The actual moment of rejection is brief. A sentence, a gesture, a silence. But we take that moment and we stretch it across days, weeks, months. We let it colonize our thoughts. We let it become the story we tell ourselves about who we are. And the Stoic says, stop. Stop torturing yourself with what has already happened. Stop trying to rewrite the past. Stop giving so much power to something that is over. Instead, redirect that energy. Use it to build something, to learn something, to become someone stronger than you were before the rejection occurred. The person who masters this becomes something rare and powerful. They become someone who cannot be broken by another person's opinion, cannot be shattered by absence, cannot be diminished by refusal. They stand in their own authority, not because they are invulnerable to pain, but because they have learned that pain is not the same as destruction. They have learned that being unchosen is not the same as being worthless. They have learned that the only validation that sustains you is the validation you give yourself. And with that knowledge, they become unstoppable, not because nothing can hurt them, but because nothing can make them abandon themselves. Every rejection you face is a choice. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. You can let it tell you who you are, or you can use it to discover who you are becoming. The Stoics chose the latter. They took every betrayal, every exile, every dismissal, and they turned it into wisdom. They turned it into strength. They turned it into proof that they did not need the world's permission to be worthy, and neither do you. You do not need to be chosen by everyone. You do not need to be accepted by everyone. You do not need to be understood by everyone. You only need to be true to yourself, to your principles, to your vision of who you are capable of becoming. So let them walk away. Let them say no. Let them choose someone else. It does not diminish you. It clarifies you. It shows you where you do not belong, so you can find where you do. It removes the people who were never meant to be part of your story so that the right people can enter. And in the meantime, in the space between rejection and what comes next, you build yourself. You strengthen yourself. You become someone who does not collapse when the approval disappears. Someone who stands firm in the storm. Someone who knows that their worth is not determined by the opinions of others, but by the quality of their character, the depth of their discipline, and the unshakable knowledge that they are enough. Not because someone else said so, but because they decided so. And that decision, that inner authority, is the one thing no rejection can ever touch.